Hello everyone, this is the Theoretical Doctor and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. This is a series on the chapter Infectious Disease of Chapter 7 of the STPM Semester 2 Biology series. Check out the full playlist on my channel. If you want access to flashcards on this topic and other videos, do click the link below. It is available on my Pinterest and slides on this topic are available on my website. In this video, we will be continuing on the topic malaria, whereby we will dive into the causes, stages of life cycle of malaria in humans and mosquito, basically how it's being transmitted, symptoms, factors contributing to the worldwide spread of malaria, as well as the treatment and prevention. Malaria is caused by a proctotist of the genus Plasmodium. So proctotist is not a virus, it's not a bacteria, it is an organism with male and female gametocytes. There are 4 types: P. falciparum, P. vivax, P. ovale, and P. malaria. Depending on the causative organism, the incubation period varies. It spreads by mosquito as well. It is by the Anopheles mosquito. It does not infect humans directly, and it enters the human body via vector transmission. Just like dengue, it is spread by Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus, but in malaria, it's by Anopheles mosquito, as you can see in the picture over there. This mosquito rests on a surface at a 45-degree angle and mostly bite at night. It is found in tropics and subtropics. So the life cycle of malaria in humans and mosquito. Let me begin with the life cycle stages in the mosquito, then I'll proceed with the human. So first, the mosquito is innocent. It's not infected, that's what I mean. What happens is when the mosquito takes a blood meal from an infected person, the gametocytes are ingested. When the gametocytes are ingested into the mosquito, there is fusion of the male and female gametes. This fusion will occur only in the mosquito, not in the human. Again, the fusion of the male and female gametes occurs in the mosquito after they have taken a blood meal in their gut. What happens is cysts will be formed. So cysts are like these fluid-filled swollen bags. So it's formed on the outside of the gut wall. And what happens is sporozoites will be produced in this cyst. After the male and female gametes fuse together, sporozoites will be produced. So after they're produced, this cyst, this bag, this swollen ballet, this balloon ruptures, it bursts, and the sporozoites are being released. After they're being released, they migrate to the salivary glands of the mosquito. Now, this infected mosquito infects the next person who is not infected when it takes a blood meal. So that's in the mosquito. So now this infected mosquito flies around. It just wants to, suck on blood. So it goes to another human. So this infected mosquito takes a blood meal. So remember, sporozoites are being produced, are being formed in the mosquito. What happens is these sporozoites in the mosquito are then injected into the human and carried to the liver. Multiple fission in liver cells occurs. So they will grow, they'll multiply, they will reproduce asexually. So still no symptoms. The person won't have any symptoms, no fever, nothing. After they have multiplied, merozoites are produced. Remember, sporozoites are formed in the mosquito. Merozoites are formed in the humans. So after merozoites are produced, the liver cells will burst. They will rupture. After they rupture, they will release the merozoites into the bloodstream. And this occurs after an incubation period of 12 days to 10 months. So why it varies? It depends on the causative organism. There are 4 types. So each one will vary. Now, these merozoites are being released into the bloodstream. They will then infect the red blood cells. They will infect the erythrocytes. Now, this is where the symptoms start to appear in the person. This merozoite will differentiate into male and female gametocytes inside the red blood cell. So this red blood cell then bursts to release the merozoites that has been differentiated. Okay? So when this red blood blood cell bursts, they release toxins. And then that's when the person presents with the symptoms. You have the differentiated merozoite released into the bloodstream. The person is infected. What happens? The cycle repeats. So now, if a mosquito bites or takes a blood meal from an infected person, then it's taken up by the mosquito and the life cycle stages continue again in the mosquito. It's a cycle, it repeats itself. So this is a diagrammatic approach. You can pause the video here to better understand how the life cycle occurs, or you can rewind back and listen to it again. Symptoms of malaria. So 10 to 15 days after being bitten by an infected or infective mosquito, the person then develops fever and can become dangerously high. So the fever in malaria is basically cyclical. There will be low grade first, followed by spikes of high grade fever and shivering. Then they'll be okay again, low grade fever, and then spikes of high fever. This sudden spike in fever is due to this: when the erythrocytes, when the red blood cells rupture and the merozoites are being released with their toxins. So apart from that, there's shivering, vomiting, nausea, headache, muscle pain, sweating, anemia. Anemia, why? Because the red blood cells have to burst. Internal hemorrhage, because the spleen can become enlarged and they also may rupture. And if they rupture, it can cause internal hemorrhage or internal bleeding. And also bloody stools, basically feces which are stained with blood. So after the fever, the sweating starts. The body temperature falls. The area of abdomen over the spleen becomes tender, becomes painful. The spleen becomes inflamed and may rupture, leading to massive internal bleeding or hemorrhage. The loss of healthy red blood cells leads to anemia, and the symptoms and fever coincide with the multiplication of the parasite, where the red blood cell ruptures and the parasites are being released with their toxins. P. falciparum can infect the brain, and this can cause the person to have convulsions or seizures. So factors contributing to the worldwide spread: it is due to the increase in drug-resistant forms of Plasmodium, increase in insecticide-resistant forms of Anopheles, difficulties in producing a vaccine, increase in the number of epidemics because of the climatic and environmental changes. Now, treatment. Quinine. It's the world's oldest traditional medicine. Or if you like tonic water, it has quinine. So when it comes to the treatment of malaria, there are actually a few factors to consider, such as the country the person was at, or if the person is pregnant, because certain drugs may be resistant to certain particular malaria strain. However, for your syllabus, we will just focus on the different types of drugs available rather than the specifics. So other anti-malarial drugs would be quinine, primaquine, chloroquine, and mefloquine. I just remember all the queens. And the best treatment would be artemisinin-based combination therapy, ACT, for P. falciparum in particular. When it comes to the prevention, it's similar to the prevention in dengue, because dengue is spread by mosquito as well. However, remember that Aedes mosquito is usually found in the early mornings or early evenings, while Anopheles mosquito, the ones that spread malaria, usually bites at night. So the best method of prevention is to cut the transmission cycle, which is the mosquito eradication. So first of all, just prevent being bitten by mosquito. Use loose clothing that covers the whole body. Use insect screens on windows and doors if you like to leave the doors or windows open. Use insecticide-treated mosquito nets for bed. Lighting mosquito coils or electric vapor mats. Applying mosquito repellent if you're an outdoorsy person. Staying in air-conditioned rooms. And drain breeding sites for mosquito. Apart from that, you can use fogging as well in malaria-stricken areas to kill the mosquito, or adding larvicide to water containers and man-made ponds to kill the larvae. Introduction of larvae-eating fish in ponds so they can eat the larvae, as well as spraying Bacillus thuringiensis bacteria on the water. So these bacteria will actually kill the mosquito larvae, but they have no effect on other organisms, so the fishes and all there. They'll be safe. So the use of prophylactic antibiotics, which are preventative drugs. Anti-malarial drugs can be taken before. In fact, if you're traveling to certain country, they would advise you to be on it. Or I think it's compulsory. Not just advisable, it's actually compulsory. So you can take it before, during, or after visiting an area where malaria is endemic. So chloroquine and mifoclin can be started as early as 2 weeks before traveling to the area and continuing for a month after leaving the area. If you've reached this point, thank you very much. Hit the like button if you found it helpful, as it does help in reaching out to others as well. Do support my channel by pressing the subscribe button so I will know, and it gives me motivation to continue producing content like this in the future. And finally, share this video to those who might find this helpful. I'll see you in the next one.